Hello then, this is CW here, back again with another episode, and instead of doing reaction, this is going to be a simple video with a simple question. What will be Death Battle 200? As you can remember from the last reaction, for those we saw Miles vs. Deku, and we saw spoilers for next time that it's going to be Hulk vs. Godzilla. Surprisingly, this one was one of the tournament champions, as you can see right here in week 7 is Hulk vs. Godzilla, which was a nice nod that I completely forgot. But as you can see from, as I mentioned before, this August Death Battle will be 199, which means in September will be the 200th episode. And this actually got me thinking all week, especially today, of what is going to be the 200th episode. Now, as you can see, I made this episode. It's going to be basically my prediction of how the episode is going to become. This is basically an ideal prediction from my idea based on 4 simple questions. What fight has been requested the longest? How has this impacted the series itself? Why does it deserve the spot? And when will the fight ideally release? These 4 simple questions will play a big factor ideally on how and why this fight will be requested matchup will be the longest requested, so something that has been highly requested or anticipated. How this fight will impact the series itself, basically how this has influence to the show itself. Why does it deserve the spot? Basically a personal or a reasonable understanding based on my perspective, and well, how will the fight ideally release? How it's going to be written, animated, stuff like that. So, as you can see here, we'll decide. I already have the ideal combatants or requests at the very bottom, so we'll show that at the end of the episode. But as you can see, it's 5 simple categories. 200, baby, basically saying that this is the episode match that is going to be it. High chance, which is still probability 80-100. 50-50, as the size fit, it's hit or miss. Maybe is going to be questionable at best. Like, it can go there, but it's very low. And then no, basically a 0 chance. So without further ado, let's just start with the main topic. And this one, I'm going to say, is going to be the fight that I had to start off with, because this has been my mind all week and it's in my gut, and that is Ruby Rose versus Maka Albarn from Soul Eater. This is, when it comes to highly requested fights, this one has probably the most impact. Like, when it came to highly requested fights, especially, it's like, in my opinion, was the top 5 most requested. It's up there with Galactus vs. Unicorn, Hulk vs. Doomsday, Goku vs. Superman, Mario vs. Sonic, and then number 5 is this fight. And the reason why I believe that this is ideally the fight is because of highly anticipated, because of this show, especially for reason number 2, how this series impact. For those who don't know, Monty Ohm is the reason why Death Battle came to be. Ben Seeger's YouTube video was inspired by a simple video called Hey Royd. Basically, just a animator did an awesome what if with like Master Chief and Samus Aran fighting each other and all. And in my opinion, I need to sub to him. Rest in peace, that man. But why do I mention Monty Oum? Well, because Monty Oum was that animator who made the fight and inspired Ben Singer himself to make. Not only that, but both of them have been were hired more or less in the future and basically owned by Rooster Teeth. Monty Oum is the reason why Ruby Rose existed, or the series came to be, and it sucked that he passed away after Volume 3. Everyone was heartbroken. And apparently, this is one of the reasons why this fight is going to be 200 for me, because it's just the time to do it is now. It's 200. Ruby has been sadly kind of dead for a while, but has passed its 10-year anniversary. This is a fight time to do it, as Ruby just had somewhat is having a comeback. I'm still salty she wasn't in Multiverses, but that I can do in a video next time and explain. If this fight is to confirm 200, I would definitely do a prediction video on my verdict. But the reason why this series has so much impact is that Monty Oum himself wanted it to be a death battle itself. Like, he was interviewed Ben, had some talk, and really wanted this. And even though the series, Ben and Chad himself admitted in like past blogs and Q&A recordings that this fight could ideally be 200, and that this fight had to wait until the series end and was up there. It just didn't happen as the series went on and like Soul Eater has ended. And this is why this fight is, I believe, is going to happen, because the time is now. It ideally has the potential. You got to go all out. Get the Ruby bottles, make Maka her own. I'm in the Death Battle thing, but also get Torian to animate the fight, who, you know, Torian, he's the reason why I was inspired to become an animator and all, graphic designer, but he's the one who loved Ruby fights and all. Hold on, excuse me. And most importantly, is that this fight just has, like, the legacy is up all there, and how it's going to be written and all, it's going to be special. And I think, like I said, this fight deserves to be 100, because besides my personal gut feeling that it is going to be there, it just fits in all four categories. It was one of the most requested matchups throughout the series since Ruby first started 10 years ago. This fight has impacted Death Battle itself, to Ben Singer and Chad St. James even wanting the fight, even on Monty Oum before he sadly passed away. I already explained why it deserved the spot, and ideally, the time to release it is now, as just need to make Ruby and Maka with her buddy Soul just fight each other and make it awesome, epic, Devil May Cry style fighting, and the outcome is pro. This fight can go 50-50, but like I said, if there is a love level to Death Battle as itself, this would be the fight. And that's the perfect way to end it. Now on to the next one, which the second contender, and don't worry, I will categorize this at the end, is none other Ash vs. Yugi. For those who don't know, for the reason why people had kids and all got gambling problems and addictions, these were the two heroes that debuted their series, especially when it comes to cards. I bought Pokemon cards myself, and recently Yu-Gi-Oh cards. So these two are to blame. These are the protagonists of their own series, and when it comes to dueling, they duel and they catch them all. And for those who don't know, this was actually was originally supposed to be the 200th episode, but because in the Kickstarter, as I scroll back, give me a second. Yep, as for Yugi, originally it was said here 200th episode, but they took it down. My guess is that they decided last minute that it's not, but it could ideally be. It could be a surprise and all. And that's why I'm putting it high there, because it can be done. The problem is, in this category, like, it's legendary, has been highly requested. Impact the series itself, like, I don't know about that category, but I mean, Ash vs. Yugi, when it comes to like Pokemon and all, like, I bet Chad and Ben had childhood for them, so I can see a lot of people had influence on them. Why this deserves a spot? As I said, like, these were the protagonists that everyone enjoyed, loved, annoyed, and like I said, like, all-out monster battle, count me in, especially, and when the fight ideally released. This is the one why I think Ruby vs. Maka overtake it again, because, again, while Bowser for, like, get Moro to animate it like that again and all, but the problem is, like, so many monsters and Pokemons had to be animated and all. That might take a while and all. And without a doubt, that could be an awesome 200. My opinion is that it might take too long, especially with it literally being next month, and like the fight, like the Kickstarter literally happened in about a year from now, which is crazy. But I just don't think there could be time, especially with Bowser vs. Eggman, but that was like in production when it was announced, and it could be possible, like I said, but like I said, I think Ruby for Maka just overtook it. This is definitely a second contender, but it's just that Ruby for Maka just had the impact and was ideally the one that singled out. But this would, even if it's not Ruby for Maka, I would not be upset if it's Ash for Yugi. This would be a good contender and all. Now let's move on to the third one. These are the ones that I've chosen personally that I think could work and all. And as you forgot about here, but also in the Ash for Yugi, a lot of people were mixed about it. Originally, this came out 2 or 3 years ago, but people did say Yugi had a high chance. But like I said, this fight can be 50-50. Now, on to the third one, Gru vs. Megamind. For those who don't know, this was the final confirmed death battle announcement before, and was also one of the was actually a contender in the Tournament of Champions, as you can see here, but lost to the official death battle winners of Tom vs. Wily, which, again, banger episodes. But the reason why I picked Gru vs. Megamind is because that, again, it's on here, and it was literally the final death battle thing. Now, the problem is that there are, with so many and all, I just don't think it's 50-50. I don't think it will, but I can see why this fight would do. It's like modern animated, 3D animated heroes who were originally bad guys become good guys with their wits and gadgets. And the fight itself is good, but like I said, it's overall 50-50, because as the fight itself has to be like 3D animated, and I don't think this fight has not, besides over the past year or two, I have not seen this fight highly requested and all. Can it deserve the spot? Maybe. I would not be upset. And the fight will ideally have to be hand-drawn or 3D animated. It just depends on the shading and all. And I don't know how this series has impact and all. So like I said, it's 50-50 on it, but I would not be upset. Next one. This one was actually kind of surprise. Well, never mind, I lied. Mario vs. Sonic. For those who don't know, we already had Mario vs. Sonic as 100, so why did I put Mario vs. Sonic as 200? Well, long story short, like, it's still a legendary matchup, and, like, it's up there. It's been one of the most requested matchups. It definitely had an impact of the series, and was one of the episodes, I believe, that actually got attention to Death Battle, like, raised in popularity. Why does it deserve the spot? And when the fight ideally releases is why I most likely say it has like a 25% chance. And the reason why is because this ideally would be similar to a rematch or a reboot like Goku for Superman, where it's basically redos the script and all, show them at the maximum potential, do the video game counterparts, of course, and then see how based on their actual lore, maximize how their strength and all and abilities, and most importantly power ups, compare and contrast. Like I said, I low chance here, but the reason why I still put it on because it could still happen. But most likely. Next one. This one, what I originally meant to say that I was surprised is, especially for the Kickstarter, Avatar Yang vs. Traveler. As you can see here, it was surprisingly up here. I'm actually surprised that Simon and Hulk vs. Godzilla came before Aang vs. Traveler. So my guess is like it got pushed back and all. But for those who don't know, it's basically the main character or your chosen avatar from Genshin Impact. And the reason, which is again surprising, especially how like Aang vs. Captain Planet for years, Chad James like impacted this. That personally had a bigger impact, especially with Boomstick wanting that matchup because of like the similarities. But I can see from my research and all, I can see, I have not played Genshin Impact, but I can see why people consider this matchup, because Genshin Impact is like Legend of Zelda based on the if like Avatar had the story of that, the Last Airbender, and then add a Legend of Zelda style gacha game. And like the connection out there, both of them can use their elements, have friends, fight evil nations and all. That's, I just skimmed it, but like this one is interesting. I'm still, in my opinion, this is probably going to be a no. As again, like Aang definitely, as it did have an impact to the series, but like longly requested, why it deserve it, and like how the fight will be done, most likely has to be like 3D animated maybe, or like Moro style animated. But yeah, I just do not see it. And we're coming down to like the last three. I want to keep this short as possible, and most importantly, focus on the main questions. So, the one of the three that I decided overall to could be a contender is Liz versus crap, I forgot her name. Oh, Annie. Thank you. Okay, Annie from Embophobia versus basically Disney Owl House. And the reason why I chose these two is because like a lot of people have been requesting it. The series just ended. They became the new popular Disney series. Like I still put Phineas and Ferb like above them both. It's just in terms of better impact and like animation style. But I gotta admit, these two were actually good. Good characters, decent stories, and like the like getting that Japanese style power ups and all, like it went bonkers. But I still have to sadly put this in no, because like one, highly requested the longest. No, this series just came out in like 2021 or like 2020, and just doesn't have a lot. And I have not seen, like, I forgot to compare it to like Ruby and Maka and all. Like the difference between Yugi and Maka and like Ashura Yugi, those are like worldwide have worldwide impact overall from like different cultures and all. Like that's how big of influence. This one only like Americans highly want to see it, and it could be a silly thing, but like I said, it's just when it compared to the others, it just doesn't deserve the spot, and it just doesn't impact the series. This fight would definitely have to be like sprite animation or like hand drawn again, as like their like magical power ups and energy blasting. All I just think that overall, this has to be a no. Like when it compared to the others, I could too. So this one might be a little bit cheating, but this one I still add because it's like I became a sucker to it. Apparently I was one of those who hated this matchup, but the more I learn about it and like the comparisons, the more similar to Pai versus Saitama, like I just became sucker and I just want to see it. Springtrap versus Junko. Now technically this is kind of cheating, as I officially do not think this will be the 200th episode, because this is basically a Halloween matchup. But technically I still put it highly because it will be like the match after 200, and it would still be in the episode for next time. But I'm still choosing it because like the modern video game horror icons who became very well mainstream pop culture wise, and like has a major impact of just using mascots to style murder sprees. But it's how they use it. Junko, as I said, for those who seen my prediction blog that I prefer originally, Joker versus Junko, this one would still be good, but basically she's basically female Joker, while Springtrap is basically just murderous Jason and Maka if he was trapped in a Chuck E. Cheese outfit. Like I said, silly concept, but the fact is that this was hinted at in Among Us, like the references to like both series, and like this gotta be the Halloween episode. This is gonna, like, even though it's not 200, I'm still being a little biased here and putting it high likely, as it's technically would be in the 200th, just going to be its successor after 201. And the final matchup I'm decided to do, just to make sure that I decided overall, is a question mark. Because honestly, at the end of the day, it can be anything. Like, it can be another Marvel vs. DC matchup. It could be a reboot. It could be another anime matchup. Like, heck, it can be similar, because after all, we did get Goro versus Machamp as like 125 and all. And like Macho Man versus Kool-Aid Man as 150. I forgot what 175 is, but like I said, it can, in the end of the day, it can be any episode. Like, it can, because out of the 7, because remember, besides the bonus episode from Colombo vs. Light Yagami, there are 7 unofficial confirmed episodes from the Kickstarter alone, as we can review back. Let me just slowly get it. Yep. As you can see, we already done this too. So like 2 episodes here, 2 episodes here. And with Hulk vs. Godzilla, we still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I would say 6, 7. Well, basically 7 episodes. Minus the ones that we already got, like Ghost Rider vs. Spawn. And Tom the Cat versus Wile E. Coyote, which was not on here, but did confirm. So, and like I said, at the end of the day, it can be anything. And without that out of the way, let's just basically review the tier list. As I said, the number 1 spot overall has to be Ruby vs. Maka. I just do not see how it cannot be, as this is the episode to do it now, and has this fight alone has, I would say, over Galactus vs. Unicron, in my opinion, as like the most impact episode that has not been confirmed. And this is time to do it right now. Both of them has passed their anniversaries and all, like over 10 years. People are dying for a comeback, especially with like their shows and all. And like I said, the animation can be done and all. Like it, Legacy and how a daily release right now would be the time to do it. Second contender, I still put in 200. Ash vs. Yugi. If it's not Ruby vs. Maka, I will not be upset if it's Ash vs. Yugi, as this is a good follow up. If it's not it, like two of the 2090s impact of like showing heroes, showing kids how to gamble and like duel monsters. The reason why card games came to exist is because of these two, and the fact that their shows made them more popular than it is today is because of these two antagonists. Fruit versus Megamind, I still put maybe. It's not just up there overall. I just do not see it. Same with Aang versus Thing. Actually, I put Guru vs. Megamind on 50-50. I take it back. I mean, it's probably not, but like it has a higher chance of fame and all. Whereas Aang vs. Traveler just doesn't have that. It just appeared out of nowhere and does make sense. Guru vs. Megamind does have a high chance. Or 50-50 overall, because like these two are well known. As for no, definitely Luz versus Aang, as I believe, in my opinion, that they just, while they just don't, when it compared to the others, they just don't fail in all four categories overall. Junko vs. Springtrap, like I said, definitely a no, but I'm still going to put it highly placed, as again, it's like ideally the Halloween matchup, most without a doubt, for this year, as hinted at with last year with Fall Guys versus Among Us, and the fact that this would be a good setup after like one of these two matchups, or for the 200th, it would be a good matchup overall and theme. And last but not least, the question. I'm still going to put it question mark, because at the end, you know what, question mark is going to go over, because whether either these, it's going to be, oh wait, I forgot Mario vs. Sonic. Dang, let me add that. Silly me, I thought I added it on here. It's a good thing I double checked and thought about it. But yes, let's quickly forget Mario vs. Sonic. I'm still going to put 50-50, because you know how predictable Death Battle can be with it. But at the end of the day, I would put it under Guru vs. Megamind, as we just had it, and like this would basically be ideally a reboot for something like next year or like the end of the year. But yeah, and like I said, at the end of the day, it has to be either a mystery one, or Ash vs. Yugi, and ideally Ruby vs. Maka. These three alone, with mystery and all, like the two had bigger impact with the series and all. Their legacy is up there. It influenced Death Battle as a whole, and most importantly overall, unlike the others, like it can be like the ideally released with like animation and all is probably going to be done effective. And again, while I say Springtrap vs. Junko is going to be a high contender, it's still going to happen after the fight. What it's going to be a banger after banger episode, and sets up the Halloween episode. So that's going to be exciting. And that's all I have to say for this one. I just want to say thank you again for those who are watching. And my main question, what do you think overall, as we basically conclude this, is going to be the episode 200, or I like to say Death Battle 200. This fight is going to go either way, And I think this is going to be a legacy matchup in the making. And like I said, whether I'm right or wrong, will still be excited for 200. I'll probably help with the G1 prediction blog when it comes out. But fingers crossed, and as we wait for the destroyer of worlds, Hulk vs. Godzilla, to come down with the episode. But besides that, thank you again for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and as I did, this was definitely worth to do, and I hope you guys enjoy. Let me hear your thoughts, comments, and criticisms, as I want to improve and expand this overall in the future. So thanks again. See you next time. Stay awesome, and glory to Death Battle.